Welcome to the Economy Magazine. I'm Binyamin. Tjong-Alvares with the news from the world economy. Coming up, a more personal look at the economic situation in war-torn Syria. And young Nigerians lose faith in the system ahead of elections. First, the headlines. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, in his annual policy speech on Thursday, addressed Parliament calling for reforms and improved security. Abe urged companies to raise wages to sustain growth as the economy climbs out of a recession triggered by a sales tax increase last year. Wage growth is key to Abe's aim of generating a virtuous cycle of higher corporate profits, wages, consumption, and investment to reflate the economy. Japan's recently re-elected leader said he aimed to achieve economic revival, fiscal consolidation, and social security reform simultaneously.
It's obvious what we need to do. It is just a matter of doing it or not. What's required of this parliament is not just to criticize, it is to act. It is to move decisively towards reforms. Let's push forward with these daring reforms with the future of Japan in mind.
Eurozone ministers failed to agree on a way forward with Athens during their first meeting with new Greek finance minister Yanis Varoufakis. The two sides will continue talks regarding the extension on the international bailout Athens requested on Monday. Varoufakis played down the failed talks, saying they heard many different interesting opinions and believed a deal on Greece's finances could be reached on Monday. Eurogroup chairman Jeroen Dijsselbloem said there had to be a political conclusion before the institutions could work with the Greek authorities.
As I said, we didn't come to joint conclusions, and if you don't come to joint conclusions, you can't make a statement or put out a statement. So that's basically all I can say about it at this point.
Switzerland outlined its plans to curb immigration, but the proposal prompted condemnation from the financial and pharmaceutical sectors. Under the measures unveiled on Wednesday, quotas will apply to foreign workers who are in Switzerland for more than 4 months. Recruitment priority will be given to Swiss residents, with a special focus on women and older individuals. Pharmaceutical and finance industries, which hire a high number of staff from the EU, opposed the move, fearing it would put them at a disadvantage to corporations in other countries. Total plans to eliminate 2,000 jobs by 2017 and sell assets worth $5.5 billion this year as it adapts its business to sharply lower oil prices. The company, one of Europe's biggest oil producers, will also freeze the hiring of new staff as part of plans to cut costs by $4 billion. Total swung to a net loss of $5.66 billion in the fourth quarter from a net profit of $2.23 billion a year ago. The French oil and gas group said it aims to reduce costs to turn a profit with an oil price of $70 a barrel compared to $110 a barrel last year. But for now, crude oil continues to hover close to $50 a barrel. British authorities may follow a trail set by their U.S. counterparts to investigate allegations that HSBC Suisse helped its customers dodge taxes. Prosecution against the bank hinges on whether the bank sent staff to the U.K. to advise clients on how to evade British taxes. The United States' successful trial of UBS and Credit Suisse last year relied on the fact that Swiss bankers traveled to the U.S. to drum up business. Britain is the second on a list of countries whose citizens held the most offshore bank accounts, with HSBC Britain's largest and the world's second largest bank. Israel, which implemented its voluntary disclosure procedure 6 months ago to encourage tax evaders to declare hidden income, came in 6th place. We had an interview with Baker Tilly Israel CPA and tax expert Guy Reshtik regarding the fallout from the HSBC Suisse tax evasion scandal in Israel. Mr. Reshtik, thanks for joining us.
Hi, good evening.
Okay, so would you say that the voluntary disclosure procedure is gaining results here at all?
Well, I think yes. I think that after 6 months of using this voluntary disclosure procedure, we can see the numbers. Where our expectations and our estimations are talking about almost $500 million of unreported capital, which was reported during this procedure. Well, estimations are speaking about $3 to $4 billion US dollars at the end of the year. So I think that yes, the answer is yeah.
Of course, there's still, I mean, about 6,500 people that were implicated in this tax scandal in HSBC. I mean, you see that there's still people trying to hide their money. Would you expect there to be more expatriation, just like we've seen with U.S. citizens that just eventually say, you know what, it's too expensive for me to continue to be a citizen?
Well, it's a question. I think, Binyamin, that the two main things that you have to understand from this well, you have HSBC, you had an event with the UBS a few months ago. Right. I think the two major things you have to understand, we understand now. One, that the banking secrecy is not as always, is not as before. It's almost that you don't have any secrecy anymore. Governments seek information from banks. Sometimes they pay for this information. And the other thing that you have to understand, that if eventually you would like to report on your worldwide income and to come clean in order to avoid any criminal execution, any criminal penalties, then you should come before they come to you. So, for example, this HSBC, if the Israeli government eventually will buy this list or will have this list by any other way, you should, if you want to eliminate your criminal actions, you should come to them before. Right. So these are, yeah.
I'm going to play devil's advocate with you here because, I mean, you know, crime continues even though there are repercussions. You know, even though they've said, okay, come and voluntarily tell us how much money you have in your account that you've been hiding for how many years, you know, isn't it a little optimistic to presume that people are actually going to say, oh yeah, of course, I have $2 billion that I've been hiding from you forever because I don't want to pay any money over it. Isn't it a little optimistic?
I'm not sure. I think that it's not optimistic. It's, well, we can see. Most of the people which are hiding their money are over the age of 60 or 70 years old. The money usually is old money before 2003, which then it's, you know, the personal taxation started in Israel. So this money was there. They hide it. They couldn't use it because they couldn't take it, bring it to Israel. Of course. And now they're taking care of their children or grandchildren, and they want to use this opportunity in order to avoid any criminal execution, any criminal penalties at the end. Right. So, and we can see it. We can see that people are coming and are reporting this using this voluntary disclosure program. Okay. Yeah.
Well, Guy Reshtig, thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Syria has lost nearly 80% of its production capacity since the beginning of its civil war, which split it along ethnic and religious lines. The following report by Daniel Roth gives us a more personal perspective on the economic situation in Syria.
For almost 4 years, Syria has been plagued by violence. A civil war that has seen 210,000 deaths so far. In these difficult conditions, workers are among the hardest hit, but many won't give up hope. Ghassan, for example, is a blacksmith. He lost his workshop to the fighting and has been unemployed for months, quickly running out of money to support his family. Against all odds, he's decided to open a new workshop.
I call everybody to live it better. I call them to wake up in the morning and to go to work. This is the most important thing. They should not remain seated and say, tomorrow I will do this and I will do that. There is no tomorrow. You should focus on today, on this minute. Everyone should go and do their work. This is the best example. We are working under the sky, in the street.
Each entrepreneur has techniques for creating slightly better work conditions. This is true for Jamal. He managed to recover a number of machines from his old factory, which was abandoned. So now he is able to produce small plastic fans.
I was not frustrated. Thank God I started everything from scratch and did not have any problem. I was not affected a lot. I told myself, I'm staying in this country and I will get the machines and work no matter what, and that I will not leave to any other place.
On top of this, a campaign has emerged to encourage consumers to help support these workers by reducing prices. This is a small but important way to stimulate the economy in this war zone. The country has lost nearly 80% of its production capacity since the beginning of the war, and according to the United Nations, 9 million people have been displaced.
Frustration reigns in Africa's leading economy and largest oil producer as Lagos prepares for elections. Presidential campaigns are focused on influencing young voters, but with more than 35% of young Nigerians unemployed, most have lost faith in the government. Here's the story.
Ola works as a tout, finding passengers for the motorized rickshaw taxis that throng the streets of Lagos. He left school at the age of 10 and now earns just a few dollars a day. As presidential elections loom, he'd like to see his country offer a better future for young people.
There is scarcity of work on the road. People applying academic, you see a old mastering degree holder that is riding bike on the road. We have a scarcity of economy, scarcity of everything in Nigeria.
At a hairdressing salon in a working-class area of the city, Perpetra is also concerned about the situation. At 20, she's already tired of the promises made at election time. What matters for her is security and education.
Our Chibok girls are not yet back, so I don't know what government are still doing about that. As I can hear from their campaign, they said if we can vote for Buhari, that they will give us, they will bring back the Chibok girls. So we don't know what they're doing about that now. So if they can work on it, especially in education level also, will give us a sound education, make social amenities for us, we can go for them.
Nigeria might well be Africa's leading economy and the continent's biggest oil producer, but more than 35% of under-25s are unemployed, a devastating figure that's created mistrust of politicians who are regularly embroiled in corruption scandals.
What some people are saying, are arguing, is that if we can vote out the ruling government this time around, politicians, will, especially since it's an incumbent, politicians will begin to understand that the answer to us. So there's that divergence of opinions. Some believe that there's no point, while some believe that we should be patient and keep trying until we get it right.
On February the 14th, young people in Nigeria will have to choose their next president. The incumbent, Goodluck Jonathan, is up against the former military ruler Muhammadu Buhari. Both men have based their campaign around the young, in a country where 43% of the population is under 15.
The post-2008 influx of institutional money into hedge funds resulted in a marked increase in their operational sophistication and transparency to investors. Today, hedge funds are no longer restricted to institutional and high-net-worth individuals, as retail investors have gradually shifted their investments into the global industry. Giordana Mosseri, Managing Director of the Hedge Fund Advisory at investment management firm Clarity Capital, is here with us to explain why this is happening. Ms. Mosseri, thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Yes. So is it true that hedge funds are no longer exclusive to so-called elite investors?
Yes, indeed. So let's make a broader picture. So for a long time, hedge funds have been an exclusively investment for high net worth individuals, very rich people, because they were highly unregulated and they used to take a lot of risk. The liquidity was not so high, so only very rich people were able to access to those type of funds. So for us, for the normal people, hedge funds are strange product that are
slightly mysterious.
Exactly, mysterious. And since 2008, things have been changing a lot, even before. But let's say that since 2008, the regulators started working hard and make things very transparent. So to give access to more normal type of investors. So we saw pension funds, endowments that are investing heavily in the hedge fund space. And not only, the hedge fund space is shifting to be more liquid and more accessible to small investors.
What exactly accounts for their growing popularity, though?
Basically, the portfolio managers are trying to create vehicles that are replicating somehow the hedge fund strategies, so very unique strategies, but in a more liquid fashion. And so you can get in and get out from hedge funds or liquid alternatives that are called in a weekly basis or sometimes even daily basis.
Okay.
Of course, it's only the most liquid portion of the portfolio.
Okay, why choose hedge funds over equities in last comment?
Because in the last period, markets are a question point. We expect interest to rise. We don't know very well where market will go. So hedge funds are hedging, so are protecting, and they're not correlated to the market.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Giordana Moselli, for joining us on this show from Clarity Capital.
Thank you.
Happy to learn more about hedge funds, and this takes us to the end of the show today. Thank you very much for watching The Economy Magazine. I'm Binyamin Tjong-Alvares. We'll have more for you tomorrow and, of course, next week. Thank you.